All right, we're going to get a lightning round. So these questions are questions that we ask business owners so that way Goodshuffle, we as a company can better show up and better serve with these challenges that you're facing or better understand what you go through on a day-to-day basis. So the questions, the responses can be as detailed or as brief as you like. So the spoilers, the first question is, what is the number one thing you need for your business? A lot of people say money, or I need space. Or some people have a little bit more of a longer story to tell for what they need. And we're going to go down the line, starting with Howie, down, and we're going to jump back to Howie.
What do I need? Is this Jen?
So, yeah, the questions, the first one is, what is the number one thing you need for your business?
The number one thing that I need that would solve every problem that I have is more market acquisition, more customers. Plain and simple. Mark Cuban said it best. It doesn't matter what business or service you're in, you only need one thing, and that's customers. If you don't have customers, you don't have a business. We have a great customer base that allows us to do our average every year. But if I want to go to 400 or 300 or 500 events a year, I need more customers. And customers come through market acquisition. In other words, when there's a conversation about an event, my name comes out.
Got it.
Say probably for me, time. I'll say and time, and then you get more time not by working more hours, but just cloning, replicating, right? It's your star hire. Let me just clone this person and replicate them to give us more time.
Very nice.
I would say what Howie says, marketing, number one. But since you already said that, I'm going to go with talent. Good quality people is good. Because I can't grow a business just doing everything myself. If I'm able to hire good quality people, that way I can grow a business.
Very nice.
I like everything that they all said, right? So if I could get a stellar employee, I'm losing one who graduated from college and now she's going off to do her life, which I understand, but she was amazing. So I want to replicate her to replace her so that we can continue to grow and enhance our customer base. But I think if I had to pick one, I would also say space. You guys have been to my shopping center. Basically, we have stuff everywhere. So we got a decor building. We have a storage space that has chairs in it. If you want to service large events, you need 200 to 400 of everything. So storing 400 chairs and you need them in gold, silver, clear, black, you need space. So
The color you got, they want the other two.
so that's right. So then it's never enough, right? So it's more space to just be able to source and store other things.
Very good. Cool. What's the number one thing you want for your business?
More great people around, more great staff. That's the key to my success. Is not what I do. It's everybody that has supported.
What you said before, the market acquisition is just scaling to a point where it's okay, we're next goal, doubling our events, and thus better off for everyone in the company.
I'm going to go with best equipment. Best equipment, best software. That's one thing I would want. Because when you have equipment that is sturdy and it works well on time, it just saves you so much stress. And the same thing with technology. When you have the best technology, it's working for you, it's automated. That's just one thing I don't think you can beat as a business owner.
I wouldn't say expansion. I would love to take my business model and do it in another country. So just take everything that I do here and pick it up and take it to another country so that I can live as a nomad, but also, do it somewhere else so that we can kind of expand our market reach. Because I was talking to Herman Events here and he left, but he was saying it's enough for everybody, which is true. The market is saturated, but we don't know what we don't know in other places. So why not pick up and go somewhere else?
Cool. Nice. What do you deeply desire for your business?
All of the things, as I mentioned previously, I made a comment where the first time I saw this production, I said, I want to do this the rest of my life. I'm doing. So I'm fortunate that I opened this company at 17. I'm almost 40, but I'm doing what I set out to do. So my desires to run a successful company and do what I love have been fulfilled.
Right on.
Cool. Well, I think it's also relevant to like next steps in a business, but like having a bigger team where it's, again, people who we gel with, who are effective, to where we can be kind of out of the nitty-gritty of the everyday business because we have trusted people to do that.
I would say for me, my desire for the company is for it to be able to work on it so I can spend more time with my family. Because then we work hard every single day. I have 4 kids, so I want it to be at a point where I can provide for my kids. It's already done that, but I wanted to do it on a higher level where we can continue to travel and have those experiences. Because even though we work all day, it's all worth it when you're able to have something more meaningful at home for it. So that's my desire.
And I think I'm going to say what everybody else feels is revenue. In order for us to go big, we need the money, right? And not so much of that we're not successful in getting money. The environment around us, rising costs of everything costs us more money. So we have more higher expenses. So if the revenue could supersede the expenses, that would be amazing.
Very cool. To get to some of these goals, desires, wants, what have you tried in the past?
Everything.
That's fast.
Okay.
And I have to make every mistake 2 or 3 times before I realize, okay, it's no. So that's, but as long as you're learning, there's 2 things I'll never do. I'll never say I'm the best, and I'll never say I know that or I know everything. I don't. Learning every day is an education for me, as it should be. And yeah.
A lot of these NYX and Howie have been around for so long. Pay planners, venues, repeat clients, that we're getting a lot of the leads from. And it was last year we're like, hey, let's hire a remote marketing director, right? It was one person doing the strategy and doing all the execution. It's like she was rushing to get everything done like within her hours. But then, eventually she left and entrepreneur minded, went to start her own business. And we were like, oh, so suddenly our marketing just stopped. And then so Howie had the idea, and he was just like, well, why don't we, to mitigate that risk, but also like lighten that workload and they can become better at what they're doing, to split up all the marketing tasks.
I've kind of said, how he said, I'm just going to try everything because the worst it fails, but you'll never know if it fails unless you try it as well.
Right.
I remember one time I was focused so much on Instagram and TikTok. I wasn't really posting anything on Facebook, and all of a sudden I started posting on Facebook and I started getting some hits. But I'm like, if I didn't try it, I wouldn't have known. And now Facebook is working pretty well. So my thing is try it, see if it works. And if it does, great. Keep focusing more energy on it. If it doesn't, then move on.
Really?
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good tip. Also with marketing, I recently tried outsourcing it in another country so that, we could get someone to manage our social media and then come up with the marketing campaigns. I was fearful of it at first because I'm like, well, I don't want you to have control over my business's assets and things like that. But when I would wake up and scroll online and I see all these amazing posts, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's us, And so
I was afraid, like, I'm going to give them all my password.
Right, yeah.
And then one day my Facebook's
It's
going to be
gonna
like,
be locked out.
your is gone.
Yeah.
And they're halfway across the
yeah,
country.
they still throw the right. They said their name is Alice.
Avenues around that, believe me. There's avenues. But at the end of the day,
It saved time. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, no.
And the last question in the lightning round, of everything you've tried to get to those goals and desired, what have you hated the most?
I've hated when I've gotten stuck in a way of doing something for so long. Then something happens and forces me to rethink, repivot, and then I find a better, newer way. And then I hated that I was stayed in this box for so long without allowing myself to learn because it was uncomfortable. Because I've always been doing it this way, and this has been successful. And every time I went outside my comfort zone and learned something new, it has been exponential for my business and my personal life. And then it makes me hate the way I used to do things. So, yeah, that's the best thing I could say for me.
Yeah. One of my favorite things is when we have new hires within the company, because I love having fresh sets of eyes.
Right.
And if I ever hear or if I ever am about to say, that's just the way we do it, then I'm like, no, we need to revisit. Is there a better way? Or we're like, can we get out of this cycle or this little box that we painted for ourselves and try something new?
So you have to evolve. And that is absolutely part of it.
Gotcha. And of what you've tried, what have you hated the most?
I would say, let's don't try. It's more, I guess, where we're at now. You kind of mentioned with me, like, shifted goals. So for me, I need knowing I have so much more potential to contribute to the growth of the company and supporting Howie in that, doing more sales and stuff like that, but being tied back in my time, having to do a lot of the admin stuff. So it's technically a good problem to have. It's just a result of the natural evolution as we start to scale. Yeah.
I would say for me, probably when we add on a new service, being the only person that knows how to do it. So, because that just adds on another photo, 2 eyes, another tree, another chain. Like, when I add something, I need to have at least 2 to 3 other people who also know how to do it in my company, because if not, I'm just adding more work to myself. So, anytime I try something out, I'm like, let me do it, but also make sure there's a few other people in the company who know how to do it, so it's not always coming back to me.
Yeah, I think being stubborn is what hindered me, right? I hate stagnation. And I think that by me being stubborn, it kind of hindered my growth because I wasn't willing to step outside the box to try it a different way, but more so trust others to do it for me. And, you know, one of the sayings is if you want to have a great team, you want to build a team that has complementary strengths of each other. So find somebody that's good in marketing, find somebody that's good in finances and things like that, that's way better than me so that I'm not the subject matter expert or whatever. And I think that I had to learn that the hard way because I could do everything. You know, it's like now I'm just like, you're right. No.
Yeah. Granted, to your point, my father probably gave you the best advice ever. When I had started my DJ company, I got this catering hall, gave me all this business, and I was doing phenomenal at 18. They were just feeding me these jobs, and I got cocky and arrogant, and you can believe that. And I screwed up, and I lost the account, and it was like almost overnight, my company had a huge mistake. And I remember my father went with me to help me try to save the account with the owner of the venue that I had screwed up in. There was he'd already moved on. And we were driving home. I'm staring out the window and I am miserable. I just blew. Like, I thought it was the end of my company. And I thought my father was me yelling. And he looked at me and he says, "You're a businessman." He goes, "I'm going to give you the best advice I can give you. You made a mistake. You will continue to make mistakes. Just don't make the same mistake twice. But don't beat yourself up over it on them." And we tend to play that negative feedback loop as entrepreneurs all the time. We make a mistake, move on, run.
Great. Nice. Thank you all for those candid responses and tremendous insights. Does anyone have any final questions before we carry on with our lovely swampy day here? Watching.
I actually have one. Because what I know of all of you is that you've done this kind of expansion with your careers. Like, you were a DJ, and DJ was the passion, but the passion evolved into this kind of event production, event entertainment, and then Kia planning, but also rentals and also venue. What kind of, what is the biggest challenge? We use the term rose and thorn, basically. Like, what was the biggest challenge, the biggest reward when you decided, this one passion has so many ways that it can go? What has been the biggest reward of that, and also the biggest challenge of making those different kinds of expansions and how you're running your business?
I'll say taking a risk is always a challenge, but I try to tell myself, if you're going to do it, just do it scared. And because that's why we have faith, right? So if we step out on faith, it's going to work. But the challenge is if I blow all this money and my landlord is looking for his rent money, then it's like, how are we going to do it? But it's just stepping out on faith and just praying that it's going to all work out. And then it all somehow, remember, because we're all crazy, right? And I think everybody can attest to this. We take these big risks and then it's scary. And then on the other side of it, you're just like, oh my gosh, it really worked. And then we do it again. So I think that's the rose and the thorn.
I think for me, my reward has been just having other people come to the business and say, Ultimate Vacations has helped put extra money in my pocket. I was able to do a vacation. I'm like, oh, this is nice because it's not only helping my family, but it's also helping other people as well, giving them an opportunity to work. And then, a risk. I remember when I first got into the industry, I was working for another event company. The owner, his name is Bob Sickle. He owns a company called Kids After Hours, but before he was owning a company called Carnival Day. And we were doing moon bounces and everything. So I was working for his company. I said, I want to do my own moon bounce. So I purchased my own moon bounce. And Bob called me one day and it went to my voicemail. I said, hey, this is Chris Yates. We rent moon bounces. And Bob was like, hey, Chris, what are you doing with these moon bounces? I thought he was going to be upset because this is already his business. And he said, this is the one thing where I realized we're in a great area here because everybody's so collaborative. He said, Chris, if you ever need any more moon bounces, you can rent my moon bounces. You can put them on your site as well. And I was like, wow, this is great because you're right, it's a saturated market here. We're all here to help each other as well too. So many people, so many vendors who I've worked with, we all work together. That's why I think for this market, it's so big on relationships. Even what you all have done in Goodshuffle, putting this together where we can all come together, I think is huge as well. So even though it was a risk at the time, I was realizing that it's not just me. There's also tons of other great vendors in this area that help support me as well.
Let me tell you, Bob retired a very successful, very wealthy man. No, it's because he had the right attitude.
Right.
Look at competition. He found a way to do business with everyone.
Exactly.
I just, for me and my role, helping support the growth of MYS. I think the challenge has been, like what you mentioned, relinquishing some control and being like, okay, I don't have to do everything myself, right? So starting to train, outsource, stuff like that. And the biggest reward has just been the relationships, super fun, getting to know Howie better, watching the team grow and like everything become better, more fun, and more efficient because of our efforts.
So there isn't one challenge. I think that over my progression of my career from when I was just starting, it was, I need business and I need more. Then as I go a little bit more, it became something else. And every level you hit has different challenge. The current challenge is employees now. How do we hire more, train them, and get them on brand as efficiently as possible to grow the company? But the rewards is there isn't a day that I don't wake up with a huge smile on my face and say, I'm still doing what I love doing, and people are still paying me for it. So I must have learned how to do it right at some point. And that's the greatest feeling in the world.
Great. Speaking very selfishly, seeing this warehouse tour event be a success, hearing these insights, seeing the connections, this is what makes my heart sing. So thank you all for being a part of it. Thank you for being part of the panel. Thank you for attending. A big round of applause for our amazing panel here. Thank you so much. And a special thanks to Howie and Katie and the NYX team for being excellent hosts today. Thank you again. Keep your eyes peeled. We'll be doing more of these warehouse tours in the DMV area across the country. Maybe we'll do one in my hometown in Winnipeg, Manitoba, across the board. And we'll see you all next time.
Thank
you
you.
again.
Thank you.